I Can Do This All Day, a Marvel fanfiction written on AO3 by Arrow_of_Ravenclaw. Tony poked his head into his teenage son's bedroom. "Hey, kid," Tony said. "Do you want to see Rogers the Musical tonight?" "Do I?" Peter asked. Peter flashed 2 paper tickets at his son. "Thank you. How did you score the tickets? I've been entering the lottery for weeks. Ned and MJ hadn't had any luck either." "I have my ways," Tony said. "I've been dying to see it," Peter said. "I've avoided all the spoilers, I haven't listened to the cast recording, and I haven't watched any of the slime tutorials." "Slime tutorial?" asked Tony. "People make slime while watching Broadway shows? Also, what spoilers? Your dad lived through most of the events, and you did too." "They're not actual slime tutorials," Peter answered. "Also, they probably took a bunch of creative liberties." "Yeah," Tony said. "I distinctly remember Loki never broke out into song during the Battle of New York. He was a strange fellow, but he never did that. Anyway, our seats are in the center orchestra. I heard those are the best." "They are," Peter responded. "Seriously, how did you pull this off?" "I'm Tony Stark," Tony said. "Nothing is impossible for me." They arrived at the theater about 30 minutes before the show was set to begin. Tony had paid a bunch of people off to let them through in the back. They were given their playbills and water bottles and escorted to their seats. "I'm gonna run to the merch stand," Peter said. "Do you want anything?" "No," Tony said. Peter quickly made his way to the back aisle. The curtain covered the entire stage. The curtain had the American flag projected onto it. Tony quickly opened his playbill. "So, who's playing me?" Tony saw he was being played by a man named Andrew Reynolds. Tony didn't recognize the names. He wasn't a theater person. The only other time he'd seen a Broadway show was when Pepper dragged him to see Phantom of the Opera for her birthday one year. Peter returned quickly. "The line was insane," Peter said, "but it moved quickly." "Do you know any of these names?" Tony asked. Tony showed Peter the playbill. "Oh, yeah," Peter said. "Is the guy who plays me any good?" Tony asked. "Oh, yeah," Peter said. "Andrew Reynolds is great." The first notes of the overture soon played. By the end of Act 1, Tony already had his mind made up. When Natasha had a random ballet solo in the middle of the Battle of Alderaan, Tony already had his opinion on the show. He hated it, but he also found it hilarious. Act 1 ended with the splitting of the Avengers. Steve and the other rogues were on the run, and Wanda and Vision were missing in action. "Ant-Man wasn't there for the Battle of New York," Tony whispered. That was the first thing he said when the curtains closed for intermission. "I know, Dad." "I think they only got the most basic facts right," Tony said. "I'm sure they took some creative liberties," Peter agreed. "If you want to leave, we can go." "No," Tony said. "I want to see how this plays out. It's like a car accident. I can't turn away from it. It's also genuinely the funniest thing I've ever seen. How much I'd pay to see Steve's reaction." "Ned and MJ have been blowing up my phone," Peter said. "Make me a promise," Tony said. "When I die, make sure that I never turn my life into a musical. You can do whatever you want to Stark Industries, but never let them make Stark the Musical." "I won't," Peter promised. "Can you imagine if they made Spider-Man musical?"